Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Dr. Steve Schlenz. I want to welcome you to another episode of Dental Practice Freedom Radio. And let me give you a quick update as to what's been going on. I lost my laptop in an American Airlines flight about a week and a half ago. They had now officially found it. It is sitting in the Philadelphia airport, and I'm trying to figure out the best way to get it, because I'm going to be off location for about 4 days and there's no real good place to ship it to. So I got that going on. And I'm going to do an actual podcast episode about that whole experience, which may be interesting to you guys, but probably not. But it's my podcast and I'll do what I want to. But what I wanted to talk about on a much more somber but celebratory note is the passing of Peter Dawson. Now, I have to preface this by saying I have never taken a course at the Dawson Academy, and I've never met Peter Dawson in person, and I've never heard Peter Dawson speak live. But I will say this: Dr. Peter Dawson profoundly changed how dentistry is viewed and what dentistry can be. And whether you agree with CR philosophy and what that looks like, I think we can all agree that somebody that's dedicated his whole life to the profession, it needs to be celebrated, especially when he's had such a profound impact on not just the concept of CR and bimanual manipulation, but his love for dentistry and also his passion to helping dentists become better dentists. And, I remember personally when I started getting into this journey of more complete dentistry, right? When I realized that doing fillings and crowns, as great as those are, there had to be something more to be able to offer my patients. I started looking for answers, and it seemed like every clinical curriculum I went to referenced Peter Dawson in some way, shape, or form. When I started, I went to Spear Education and did the online training and the in-person training. And most everybody was talking about the Dawson Academy and Peter Dawson and how impactful he had been on the profession. And the first real clinical textbook that I've read, pretty much cover to cover, and I remember reading it, was Dr. Dawson's textbook on occlusion and full mouth reconstructions and his philosophy. And I remember reading the first chapter of that book about I think it was the first chapter was all about being a more complete and comprehensive dentist and being a clinician that's driven towards excellence. And there's more out there. And I remember reading his textbook. In that first chapter, this isn't written like any textbook I've ever read before. This is unbelievable. He has a philosophy of what's possible in dentistry. And that actually got me started with some other giants in dentistry, L.D. Pankey, Bob Barkley. I had an amazing mentor in Dr. Michael Schuster. And all of these, I would call pillars of dentistry, right? Like godfathers of dentistry, if you will. They all had a philosophy of being a complete dentist, being a complete person, having dentistry be an extension of who you are as a person. And I wanted to take some time on this podcast episode to not just celebrate Dr. Dawson's life and legacy, especially when it comes to dentistry, but if you've listened to this podcast, you know that I am a huge proponent of coaches and mentors. And it's not just because I'm a coach. It's because in order for me to even be at the level that I'm at, as a 33-year-old dentist who now is practicing pretty much in 2 states and trying to make all this stuff work, I realized that you need mentors and coaches. And you need mentors and coaches that have a philosophy that resonates with you and who you are as a person. And I can vividly remember reading Dr. Dawson's textbook, and then also L.D. Pankey's Practice of the Philosophy of Dentistry, I think is the name of it. It was kind of a different type of name, but these books were talking about things way outside of clinical dentistry, and I've never heard anyone speak like that. And I've seen interviews of Dr. Dawson, and I've seen interviews of Dr. Pankey. And I will tell you, the philosophy, what they espouse as clinicians, what they espouse as people, puts them on a different platform entirely when it comes to the field of dentistry. And that's why they are giants. It wasn't just that they could do full mouth reconstructions. It's that they were caring for the whole person while they were doing it. And I think right now, in our profession, we need mentors more than ever. And we need a philosophy of what's possible in dentistry and caring for the whole person. There's a movement right now, and I think a lot of it has to do with outside interference, whether it's insurance companies or corporate dentistry. But it's been there since almost the 70s and the 60s. This movement towards production and seeing more patients and bigger offices. And when Dr. Dawson had passed, I started to go back and make almost a catalog or a mental Rolodex of who are my mentors and who are the people that have shaped my philosophy when it comes to dentistry particularly. And, whether it's, Dr. Michael Schuster or reading through books, a lot of these dentists that I use as role models, they're not even living anymore, Harold Worth, Dr. Harold Worth. I've just read about them and read their philosophies and really dug in, Dr. Bob Barkley. And I will tell you that what they were talking about is slowing down, being more profitable, making a significant and lasting impact on the patients you serve. And if you do that consistently over time, not only will you be an excellent dentist, you will have more profitability, you'll be more fulfilled, you'll have more spiritual fulfillment, and you'll just be genuinely happier and more complete as a person. And I know that in today's day and age, that message is becoming lost. It is a message of almost like a pseudo helping people. And it's not to say that whatever practice you're in, if you're in a production based practice, it's okay. You may have not even created that on your own volition. You may have listened to other people, and there's a lot of factors at play. But what happens is we get caught in these traps that we didn't even know we set. And we look at a practice one day and we realize we are not truly even helping the patients we're meant to help. And we never intended it to be that way. We didn't sit and say, you know what, I'm just going to rip a bunch of people off and make a lot of money. Some dentists probably would do that. But if you're listening to this podcast episode and you're on episode whatever we're on, 110, I don't know. You know me well enough to know that that's not me, and that's probably not you. You wouldn't be listening to this. And so what I wanted to do is, celebrate Dr. Dawson and what he's given to the profession of dentistry. Because even up until his passing, he was lecturing. He was out there. He was doing it. He was living his bliss, if you will. He was truly on purpose. And that's to be celebrated in and of itself, that he lived, and I don't know him personally, and maybe I could be wrong, but just studying people that are really successful at what they do. That's what I've been doing for the last few years, really studying successful people. Like, what do they do? They love what they do. They're passionate about what they do. They'll continue to espouse what they love doing over and over and over until literally the day they die. And I would guess that Peter Dawson did that. And there's something to be said for that, and there's something to be celebrated for that, for someone living their bliss. Because I know what he was teaching was not easy to teach, and it definitely was not easy at the time that he started doing it. And he's impacted thousands and thousands of dentists' lives, and by doing that, he's impacted hundreds of thousands of patients' lives. And so I want you to think about that. I want you to think about the legacy that you're leaving to dentistry. And I want you to think about the mentors that have influenced and shaped who you are as a person. And I would encourage you to do something for me, if you can. If you have a mentor or a coach that has made a profound impact on your life, and for whatever reason, you have lost touch with that coach or mentor, and they're still living, find a way to contact them, whether it's email, letter, text, voice message, Instagram, Facebook, however you're going to do that. And just reach out to them and say, thank you for everything you've done to shape me into the person I am right now. It means a lot to coaches. It means a lot to me. If somebody ever said that to me in the few years that I've been coaching, I guarantee you that a lot of people that coach and mentor other people, they don't do it for the money. There's a lot better ways to make money, so to speak, than coaching and mentoring. But it's about helping people get where they want to go faster. And so if you have somebody like that in your life and you haven't reached out to them in a while, just say thank you. And it'll make you feel better, it'll make them feel better, and I can guarantee it'll make Dr. Dawson in heaven someplace smile, because he's had a lasting impact on the profession of dentistry. So I hope you do that. That's all I got for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate all the support. If you could do me a huge favor, if you do get value out of this podcast episode, please leave a review or a rating or reach out to me directly. If there's something that you want to hear me talk more about on the podcast, just let me know and I'd be happy to do that. And until next time, take care, guys. See ya.